Hey, what is up everybody? It is AJ here, and in today's video, I'm going to teach you how you can connect an external display to your Windows 10 or Windows 11 device, and of course some tips and tricks on how you can maximize that display as well. Of course, if you like this video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. If you want to supercharge the way as your computer, hit that subscribe button as well. With that being said, let's get into this. So what we have in front of us here is my Surface Pro 8, and connected to that is a portable display, an espresso display, which is connected via USB-C. This setup here is great for me because when I move around for work, I can carry a second display with me. But everything we're going to go through today with the espresso display is going to be the exact same as if you had a fixed monitor, a big 24, 27, 30-inch monitor on your desk at home. So the first thing you want to do is actually make sure that you have the right cables and connections to your monitor. For the Surface Pro to the espresso display, it's quite simple. It is simply just a USB-C cable, and this is going to do both the display as well as power the device. For your monitor at home, you want to make sure that the monitor is plugged into charge, plugged into the wall, and of course you have the right connector as well. The connector is most likely either HDMI or USB-C, but you may have an older monitor and you might need a DVI or even a VGA cable, but most commonly you're going to need a HDMI, or if it's a newer monitor, a USB-C. You can see here I had the cable plugged into my Surface Pro, and then I plugged it straight into my espresso display, and it just kicks off. My display is connected and it's working. But what we're going to go through now is some of the settings you want to change on your main display to get the most out of your secondary display. So the first thing you want to set up on your monitor is actually making sure that the mouse knows where it goes when you go left and right on the trackpad. Mine's already set up so I know that my monitor is to the left, so I can grab a document like Word and move it over to the left, goes onto the second monitor. Same thing, I can grab it from that second monitor and put it over onto my main screen here. But this isn't set up by default. So what we're going to do is actually we're going to go into the settings by simply pressing the start button and typing in display. And then we're going to go option of display settings. We're going to look at the first one here called change display brightness. Doesn't matter, this is going to pull us into our display settings anyway. So it's going to open us up to our display settings on Windows 11 or Windows 10. And you'll see the first option we're greeted with over here is actually identifying which of your monitors that you have. If I select on the identify tool, it's going to tell me this is monitor 1 and this is monitor number 2. And I can actually grab monitor 2 and move it around. So if monitor 2 is actually on the right hand side of my computer, I'd actually have to move the mouse to the right to access it. Or if it was on top, I could drag and drop it on top. So when I go apply, imagine the monitor was on top right now. Instead of going to the left trying to access it, I'd scroll up because I'd be telling the computer it's physically above my monitor. I tell it it's physically above my main display. But I'm going to pull that back down and move it over to the left hand side. Go apply again, and then watch once it applies. It takes a few seconds, but I can move my mouse from left to right, and it's going to let me drag and drop things from left to right, from monitor to monitor. The other thing you want to do is actually see whether you want to have the display extended, duplicated, or even have only the second display on. And this is done in the right hand side under identify. There's the option of extend these displays. If I drop this down, it's going to ask me if I want to extend the display, or I could duplicate, and that means I'm going to get the same thing on both screens. I could keep the changes, or I could revert it back. I'm going to keep these changes for now. I could actually drop that option down one more time, and I could say actually only show display number 2. This means that the monitor is going to turn on, but my laptop is going to turn off. This is really handy if you've got a really big screen at home and you just want to use the big screen and not your laptop screen. Or I could drop that down and say only show display number 1. Whichever way works for you, these are the options that you go through. I personally think, I'm going to hit keep changes. I personally think the main way to use it is using the extended display, and that way you can actually have 2 bits of screen real estate here. So we go extended display, we're going to keep the changes here, and you can see it's automatically put that monitor back on the left hand side because it knows it's how it was set up before. Another shortcut to get to this is actually on the keyboard by pressing Windows P, and that's going to pull up your project options, which allows you to quickly toggle between choosing whether you want to use just the PC screen, duplicate, extend, or the second screen only. So that's just a quick shortcut called Windows P, and it pulls up this little action sensor on the right hand side to quickly let you choose what happens with your display. Once you actually set up and configured which monitor you want to go where, so this is going to be display number 1, and that's our external monitor on the left hand side, you can actually choose to have the external monitor as your main display. So this means when you press things like the Windows key, instead of it popping up on your laptop, it would pop up on your main display. To do this, it's really quite simple. You simply select on the main display. So for this one, it's going to be display number 2. Then we're going to drop down the option of multiple displays, and then we're going to tick the first option of make this my main display. We're going to select on that, and the computer now knows that your external monitor is the main display you're going to work on. So when you do things like press the Windows key, your files are going to pop up on your main display. So that means that if you have this connected to a big, large external monitor, you use that main external monitor as the main display, and your laptop becomes that secondary display. The last tip I want to show you is how you can keep the second display on even when the lid on your main computer is shut. So this could be you're working at home on your big 34-inch monitor, you want to close your laptop screen but it is connected, and you want to work just on your external display. You want to press the start button and type in the word lid, and the option here is change what closing the lid does. We're going to open this up. This is going to take us into the old school settings, and the second option here of when I close the lid, whether you're on battery or plugged in, it's set to default to sleep. We're going to change that to do nothing and do nothing. Then I'm going to go save these changes. When I close the lid to my Surface Pro, it should normally turn everything off. It should put it to sleep, but it will actually just keep the second monitor going. See, it takes a second there. This screen is now turned off, and our main display has actually kicked off and said this is the main display now. And there you have it. That is how you connect an external monitor to your Windows 10 or Windows 11 device. There's some tips and tricks on how you can actually maximize having that monitor connected. And of course, hopefully this makes you a lot more productive when you're using your computer at home. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. And if you want to supercharge the ways your computer, hit that subscribe button as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.